Hello and welcome to My Finance Teacher. Welcome you all on my channel. Today is 12th of May 2018 and I hope you guys are really having a nice weekend. I know I am, even though Bitcoin is falling. No problem there because, as I mentioned over the last couple of weeks already, actually I have been a little bit too early forecasting a decline in Bitcoin price. But as I've been talking about that for a couple of weeks already, we have sort of identified this area between 9,000 and about 9,900 as some resistance zone formed by all of these moving averages, the 100-day moving average, 200-day moving average. And earlier, several weeks ago, there was this bear market downtrend line that also added to the strength of this resistance zone. Bitcoin has broken through the bear market downtrend line, and often after this sort of relatively long trend lines are broken, a product, any kind of asset, generally tries to retest the trend line first before a continued appreciation takes place. So that's what I expect in Bitcoin, and we saw that in the previous video, sort of a glimpse of what might happen to Bitcoin once we noticed this divergence between the prices, which created a higher high over the last couple of weeks, and the 14-day RSI, which actually showed a lower high. That divergence very often indicates a declining price in the future, and that's what we see. So going further into the future, what do I see? Well, I expect Bitcoin to retest this bear market downtrend line, and there are a couple of possibilities that I'm looking at. Those are based on cycles. As many of you, those who are subscribed to my channel, by the way, subscribe to the channel, guys. As many of you know, I do quite like looking at cycles in relation to many different kinds of assets, and in Bitcoin, as you saw in my previous videos, I sort of see cycles that last for a couple of months or so. So based on this idea of cycles in Bitcoin that last for generally a couple of months, if this decline is relatively fast and we come to retest this bear market trend line over the next several weeks, over the next several days, then it would be a little bit too early for this cycle to finish and enter into an advancing phase of a new cycle. So for that reason, I would expect Bitcoin to sort of bounce up from this bear market trend line. I think it's going to provide some support, and after a short-term bounce, I would expect a continued decline to give us, since late March, since early April, nearly a couple of months of a cycle. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is if Bitcoin is relatively indecisive over the next few weeks and generally trends downward relatively slowly. So if that would be the case, then that can give us sort of a cycle duration close to a couple of months, and after that I would expect a new cycle starting with a renewed force, and an advancing phase of that cycle might actually bring us above the 200-day moving average. So I am quite optimistic on Bitcoin in the medium term, although in the short term we might see anywhere close to 7,500 or so over the next couple of weeks. Actually, if we look at Fibonacci retracement numbers from this low over here to the high, what are the possible prices we might see over the next several weeks? Well, 78% retracement often provides some support zone, and that is actually at about $7,200. There is this bear market trend line that might also provide some support. So as I said, if we see a decline that is relatively quick over the next several days, we might bounce up from anywhere close to $7,300, $7,200. So that is what I expect on Bitcoin over the next couple of days. So next couple of days, a little bit bearish. Medium term, I'm quite bullish. Based on a number of news, so let's have a look at some of the interesting news in Bitcoin. The general idea of all of these news, I'm not going to go into details of each of these. There are a lot of channels that talk about different crypto news. The general idea is a lot of financial institutions, Goldman Sachs over here is thinking about opening Bitcoin trading desk. Barclays is sort of rumored to think about that, although it looks like the rumors are refuted. Morgan Stanley is thinking about sort of having something similar, opening some sort of trades in cryptocurrency. Even stock exchanges such as New York Stock Exchange wants to let customers buy Bitcoins, although this is sort of interesting. How are they going to let customers buy Bitcoins when the custody of the Bitcoins within the financial intermediaries has this problem of custody of Bitcoins has not really been solved yet. A similar idea is also proposed at Nasdaq, although they are proposing to let their customers buy derivatives of Bitcoin price. That sort of makes more sense rather than holding Bitcoins themselves with the custody issue unresolved. Looks like there are Ethereum futures coming up in UK. So those are all financial institutions, a lot of other companies. Of course, Facebook is sort of rumored to sort of consider creating their own crypto. That might be big actually. Facebook of course has a lot of users, and if they have an ICO or something like that, I might sort of look into that. No investment advice here. And another interesting news is that Bloomberg is thinking of creating a crypto index. Might be rubbish, however, with all these money pockets, rich old guys that have made loads of money over the last several decades, if they don't understand cryptos, they might actually look at what Bloomberg has as an index for the cryptos. So that sort of can make the crypto world a little bit more accessible to those who have some funds but don't really understand much about the technology. So for all those reasons, I'm quite bullish on Bitcoin going into the future, although the short-term future might be a little bit bearish. That is my opinion. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. I do appreciate that. And another thing I appreciate is your like buttons. What I mean is you hitting that like button. Thanks for your attention. Have a good day.